Hey guys, remember to like the video and hit subscribe.
I'm not outraged
no.
at the joke. I make far worse jokes than that on my show every single day.
I mean, let me bring in.
So we're slicing it kind of thin there. So we're going to pretend to be outraged about her joke when the President of the United States core brand is making these sort of jokes. So I wouldn't, if I was her, I wouldn't have put out the statement afterwards. If it's me, you know, I don't know. I think that Dave's kind of business model over there. You know, I don't take money from any Russian assets. Like, that's just me. So I'm able to just kind of say what I really think on here with Dave. You never know.
Why would you think that's an own? Yeah, I get paid by, you know, American media companies when I do work for American media companies. That's your go-to ownage point there compared to undeclared Russian money. Good one, Dave. Holy shit, Dave just destroyed. Dave just destroyed Tim over here. How will Tim ever recover?
So I understand why he might not, you know, he might want to pick his spots.
All right, well, let me bring in.
That's some great work you're doing at Bulwark, a real solid place of journalism over there.
Well, we haven't taken.
It is actually fairly solid, and they're decently successful, right? I think there's like a lot of they have a lot of podcasts over there now, right? I don't know. I guess I don't know how much is like actually their shows. Like, I don't know, is Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher and these guys, are they like officially part of the Bulwark? I'm not actually sure. I don't know. But
taking any money from the Russians of the Bulwark, Piers. I don't know if you know this, but Dave took $400,000 per month from a Russian.
Oh, per month, sorry.
From a Russian information operation.
True.
And so you'd understand why.
And what was the name of the show that I did for the Russians? Tell me that.
Right now is just handing things over to the Russians. That he has to pretend to be outraged about things. You know, just you don't know who's paying the bill.
What was the name of the show I did for the Russians, champ?
It was Tenet Media that paid you. Tenet Media.
What was the name of the show?
Right? $400,000 per month and a $100,000 signing bonus. That not you?
Yeah, you just literally don't know what you're talking about.
It's so crazy. Do you remember when it was on Kick or Keep with the guy who was accused of doing a crypto scam? I want to say Sammy something, but that wasn't his name. Who am I thinking of? Sam Pepper. Yeah. This is the exact same debate strategy. I called Sam out when he was doing on Kick or Keep, but when you've been caught doing something like bad and somebody's trying to nail you down on it, you have to endlessly equivocate and endlessly quiz and interrogate on every single minor fact, right? Say that everybody knows that you murdered Tom, and then, you know, somebody accuses you there on the show, like, oh, didn't you murder Tom? You're like, did I really murder Tom? Really? I murdered him? What weapon did I use? Do you even know the time of day? Oh, okay, sure. Do you know what kind of knife it was? You don't know anything. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, right? It's the same type of debate strategy. Epic.
100,000 media that paid you. Tenet Media that paid you. Is that right? 400,000 per month and a $100,000 signing bonus. That not you?
Yeah, you just literally don't know what you're talking about, which is standard. You work for MSNBC and the Bulwark. It's impressive.
All right,
okay, so that wasn't you then. You weren't commentator one in that indictment there, Dave? That wasn't you?
Yeah, I was commentator one. It was nice to read something honest about me, that I did all my due diligence trying to figure out what was going on over there. What was the name of the show? Tell me about the...
Do I need to do I need like inserters and belts and everything in space? Do I need all that?
Propaganda I put out there?
What was the name of the show? Tenet Media that was paying you. Tenet Media was a Russian. What was the name of the show? It was an RT cutout.
Yeah.
It was a Russian cutout.
RT, an
RT cutout. They were paying you. I've never been paid by a Russian cutout, so I don't exactly know how it all works.
You're paid by MSNBC, which is state-owned propaganda.
Really? The state runs MSNBC? Oh, like right now then, Donald Trump owns MSNBC. Is that what you just said? Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, I guess, the State Department owns MSNBC right now. Why don't they just dictate to them to stop putting mean stories out about Trump? Why is Trump suing state-run media departments? Is it a different state or what? Like, what a stupid comment.
Paid by the Bulwark, which should be just called bullshit. That would be a better name of the network. Or whatever the hell it is you people are doing.
Could I jump in on
What was the name of the show that I did? What was the name? You don't know. You don't know because you don't know what you're saying. Very impressive.
Let me wrestle things back. Time out. Let's wrestle things back to the actual.
I'd rather talk about Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes.
Let's talk about Jasmine Crockett. I want to bring in Jake here. I mean, Jake, presumably you would condemn both the joke and the statement that was obviously a pack of lies.
Yeah, Piers, I agree with Tim that the outrage Olympics is a little tiresome and rings hollow. I also am an elected official, and I know that what is communicated is not what is said, it's what is heard. And what was heard from her statement did strike me as reflecting the governor's disability. And I don't think that's funny. And that's rule number 1A as a politician is if you're going to make fun of somebody, make fun of yourself. That's what's actually going to get laughs. So I don't think it was an acceptable statement. And I don't think it's acceptable when Trump mocks people with disabilities. I don't want to see Democratic politicians do it either.
And so her statement was therefore, by definition, from what you said, a pack of lies, right? In which she played the race card, the Trump card, the disabled card. There wasn't a card she didn't try to...
Is it playing a card when you're talking? I disagree with that assessment. I think she should have just owned it. I don't know why unless maybe this is just like her way of like politically messing with these topics. But typically when you say somebody played a card, they're doing it to like, they're doing it to get themselves out of a particular situation where they're saying like, where they're talking about themselves. Like, oh, you're only saying this because I'm black, or you're only saying this because I'm a whatever. But she was saying he's doing these things to black people. I don't know if you would say that's playing a card per se. I don't think. Playing the card, I think, is usually you're accusing somebody like attacking you on some characteristic, I think. I mean, this is being a little nitpicky, but...
Play in an effort to deny what we'd all heard with our own ears.
Here's what we should do as a country. We got to stop talking to people based on immutable characteristics and start talking to people as Americans, as individuals with inherent worth and dignity. Focus on what unites us. Focus more on the unum than the pluribus, in e pluribus unum.
Jake,
and stop
Jake,
with
you wouldn't
both
even have a
the hard
party
left
if
and the hard right
the Democrats
baiting
didn't
each
divide
other.
people by race, gender, and orientation. You wouldn't even have a party. Your party wouldn't have a platform. So what are you talking about?
Damn.
And I'd love to sound off, honestly, on this issue of Jasmine Crockett, because this is representative of a really pivotal moment in my life. This is why I left the Democratic Party 7-8 years ago.
Why?
Because I believe the left-wing narrative that Donald Trump had mocked a disabled reporter, which actually turned out to be yet another Democrat Party liberal media lie. We're still talking 8 years later about Donald Trump mocking a disabled reporter, but people want to excuse Jasmine Crockett actually making fun of disabled people when Donald Trump actually wasn't making fun of disabled people. But then, of course,
You're right, Brandon.
Well, to be clear, Donald Trump was making fun of a disabled person. Now, you could maybe make the argument that Donald Trump didn't know he was disabled, but Donald Trump was making fun of a disabled reporter. I don't know why we would just lie about that, but okay.
Donald Trump doesn't make fun of anybody. You're right, man. You nailed it.
Well, let's play the clip. All right, let me play the clip.
No, hang on.
Hang on. I'm going to play the clip.
Please name an example.
Wait, Brandon. Let's play the clip. Let viewers remind themselves.
If I destroy
of what
this,
Trump
will I get everything that this is already
talking about
mine?
a reporter who does indeed have a disability. Let's watch.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like,
It will
I
go
don't
to the
remember.
hub? Oh, wait, does it?
Maybe that's
Oh, it
what I
does.
said.
You're right.
This is 14 years ago. They didn't do a retraction.
Now, Brandon, Trump did vehemently deny he was mocking the reporter's disability. He has a disability with one of his arms, but he certainly
it doesn't go to
like
that. Thank you.
was, right? And I do remember the Democrats getting very outraged about it. But, you know, to the congressman's point, should we all try and elevate
Thanks,
all
Megan, for the
ships
$9.99
here in the way that we talk about people on a personal level?
Well, hang on, because first of all, you did what the left-wing media does, which is take that moment out of context and assign a false meaning to it. What we haven't talked about is that Donald Trump has done that
just
exact
like
same
January
voice
6th, right, Brandon?
That exact same
January
voice and
6th
that
was
exact
just
same gesture.
it was an episode.
All right.
You were just
sure.
at the Capitol.
We'll talk about a 4.5-year-old
It was a false narrative out of January 6th.
Yeah,
That's why you have a criminal
great.
conviction.
Ooh.
Actually, I don't. I'm pardoned
Just
for
a false narrative.
Oh my God! Did he really say that? Actually, I don't. I was pardoned by Daddy Trump. Daddy Trump actually said I'm A-okay, so f you. True. Wait, why the f did this just auto launch? Do I have auto launch turned on?
For my non-violent misdemeanor charge for standing outside of the Capitol shooting video. Yes, I've been pardoned for my Class B misdemeanor charge. But calm down. I'm going to finish my point. Donald Trump has done that exact same voice and that exact same gesture numerous times throughout the years when he was imitating anybody who was flailing because they were caught in a lie. He was making fun of the fact that that reporter who happened to be disabled was flailing because he was caught in a lie. What the left-wing media did was freeze frame a moment from that, put it side by side with that reporter, and say that he was making fun of his disability, which in itself is actually disgusting what the media did. But Donald Trump was not making fun of a disabled reporter. What Jasmine Crockett did was actually make fun of a disabled disabled person and then double down and turn herself into the victim and play the racial identity card instead of apologizing for what she did. And I'd like to know, where's the Democrat Party outrage about this? We're still talking about Donald Trump
Well,
8
to be
years
fair,
ago.
when it comes to intellectual honesty, both of the
You should have say, we actually concede to the Republicans on that. You guys won the culture war. We think making fun of people is based and not having any decorum, because you said it yourself, decorum isn't part of being the president. The president's not elected for his decorum or anything like that. So you guys won on that. So we're just going to go ahead and make fun of you guys now when you're disabled and retarded. Boom. Easy.
left-wing members of the panel have both said it was wrong, and they both said they don't believe her statement. I'm not sure what more you could expect. I was pleasantly surprised to hear that.
Well, Tim didn't really say it was wrong, and Jake said that it was sort of wrong, but that we need to stop playing identity politics in this country.
Well, Tim said
which
her
is literally
statement
the
was a load of
platform his
nonsense, which
entire
I totally
party.
agree with.
Literally his party's platform.
All right, I think we can all agree she was obviously.
I said her statement was nonsense, and I just want to say, maybe me and Elon Musk agree on something. Let's legalize humor. We're really gonna get 5 middle-aged white guys on here just like tisking people over a little joke. I mean, like honestly, like Jasmine shouldn't have lied about her statement. I appreciate that Congressman Auchincloss says he wouldn't make a statement like that, but this is silly, isn't the whole point of your guys' platforms that we shouldn't have cancel culture? We shouldn't get so outraged about everything. Like
nobody's calling for cancel. Nobody's yelling. We're responding to a question on a TV show.
It's so fake.
Well, the trouble, Tim, is that when I haven't checked in the immediacy of what you've just said, I haven't got the capacity to do that. But if we went back to when Trump was seen supposedly mocking that reporter, and he denied it, like I said, what did you say at the time? Did you take a view that...
I didn't like that. I didn't like that at the time. It's been 10 long years, Piers. It's been 10 long years.
Tim, my point is, names. So would you like to apologise for being...
We've had a change.
So would you like to apologise?
There's been a change.
All right, but Tim, would you like to be apologise then for overreacting to that? Do you want to lead the way here?
I don't want to apologize. I think that we've had a change in what is acceptable discourse in this country in a way that I probably don't like. I wish we could go back to 2015 where we didn't do this, but we had an entire ecosystem that you guys just profit off of.
Yeah, you said it was great.
What do you mean you guys? Hang on, what do you mean you guys?
Tim, you're literally the only person who's engaged in
Hang on,
Brandon, hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. Tim, the only difference, Tim, between you and me is that I'm pretty much in the centre. You're to the left.
I'm in the centre.
Dave's to the right. Right? I don't know what you mean by you guys. We're not all on the same page.
I said, like, back in 2015, my point is that in 2015, we Donald Trump, I think we can all agree, changed what was appropriate discourse in this country. And he really crafted it and coarsened it. I think a lot of people are upset about it.
Tim,
and what
you're the only
happened as
person
a
on this panel
fallout
who's
is that anybody that was upset about it, there was a whole media ecosystem that grew, that defended him and defended it and said that anybody that anybody gets outraged about this is a snowflake, and that we should be allowed to make jokes at all this country. And so the coarsening of our politics has happened, and now we're here.
To start
and I don't get outraged over Donald Trump making jokes anymore, and I don't get outraged over Jasmine Crockett making jokes anymore. Things have changed. Donald Trump changed things. You guys wanted it to change. I mean, you guys in this case, Brandon and Dave. And here we are.
Dave, do you want to respond?
But you're the only person who's engaged in personal attacks
we can speak more freely and honestly about things. We have a less censored internet now than we did 10 years ago. Donald Trump uncovered all of this deep state nonsense. He uncovered the collusion with mainstream media and big tech and the government to silence.
The collusion with mainstream media and big tech. He's right. We did see collusion between mainstream media and Donald Trump in the form of Fox News carrying lies from his administration to the American people. Fox News is the largest mainstream media organization in the United States. They lost a $800 million lawsuit, that they settled because they carry those lies. And we have seen collusion between social media and Donald Trump because Elon Musk is I can't even say he's partisan. He's literally the most part. He's part of Trump's administration. He's this fucking right-hand dude. He's talking more in cabinet meetings than anybody else, and this dumb motherfucker's not even on the fucking cabinet, okay? So, yeah, we do see collusion but it's you guys doing it.
People, these are all good things. I got one for you, Tim. For example, very fine people, hoax or not hoax?
Not a hoax.
You work at
Don't
the
do it,
Bulwark.
Tim. It's not a hoax. It's not a hoax,
people
Tim.
in journalism, very fine people. Hoax or not
wrote a
hoax?
very extensive story on the very
Hoax
fine
or not
people
hoax?
thing.
Yes,
And I think if
hoax
you
or not
actually
hoax?
go
One word.
back,
One word.
It's not that was not a hoax. He said
No,
that.
it's obviously not a hoax. If you want me to explain why,
True.
people can go read Robert Trzynski's story. He was there. He's in Charlottesville. He's a conservative. He explains why it's not a hoax.
It's
you can
not
go
a
read that if
hoax.
you want,
It's
or
not
I
a
can
hoax.
explain it, whatever you want, Dave.
It's not a hoax.
Delusional.
Good job, Tim. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, you can explain it. Donald Trump, for 10 years, Joe Biden literally ran his initial campaign for presidency saying Donald Trump said very fine people on both sides.
He did.
What was the line that Donald Trump said next, Tim?
Right after very fine people on both sides.
Yeah, what did he say
I
after
don't
that?
remember what the exact sentence was right after.
I'm
I
not
think the
talking about the
context, though,
white
Dave, that you're missing
supremacists
is
or
what
the
you don't remember
neo-Nazis who should
is
be
that he said
condemned
it-
completely.
It was literally exclusively a march. The particular one that he's talking about, I'm not going to make you guys watch it for the billionth time, but Ben Shapiro did a really good video on this a long time ago. Those are the only people that you could have been speaking of. That's it. But what are you going to do?
But you work for the bulwark,
Dave, he
so you
said
are
it
in the
after there were
job of
multiple
laundering
days
the
of
mainstream
protests,
media
after there were
lies.
tiki torch
And
protests.
now
Like,
we
you're
are
acting
in a
like he just
position
said
to
it in
fight
the
against
one
those
moment.
lies. So you hate independent people
time out
who
here.
are allowed to actually
hate
tell the
anybody.
truth because they use their own minds instead of being NPCs like you who are
my
just
Use your own mind. You were
regurgitating
taking
basically
Russian cash,
state-sponsored
dog.
nonsense.
Dude, you were taking Russian money. You're not using your own mind.
What was the name of the
Sorry.
show, Tim? Do you
No
know what
one
you're
knows the name of the show, which is even more embarrassing because you got paid $5 million to do it.
talking
All right,
about?
we're not doing that
What
again.
was the
I
name
mean,
of the
there was
show?
Let me bring
indictment.
let me
Did you
bring
get the
in.
money
Come on,
back?
Tim, you
Did
might have
give-
Googled
Let me
it.
bring
Find
Jake
out
back
if
in.
you
I
can do
apologize
it.
if you've given the money back. Have you given it back?
Nope.
Did you give it back?
Nope.
Oh, you are a clown. You are a clown.
Oh, no answer.
You
He has no
literally
answer.
don't
Or
know
do-
what you're talking about. What was the show that I did? What did I say that was Russian propaganda? You have literally no idea what you're saying.
Like Tim's response there should be, so you're saying that you're saying that your default messaging with no input at all from the Russians was good enough for them to pay $5 million for? Does that make you think about the types of things that you say about supposedly your country? That should be the next line.
I've never been indicted for
got real
taking Russian
quiet.
money. I've never been in an indictment for taking Russian money.
Oh, now Ruben's going to get him with that. Well, I wasn't indicted for taking Russian money, although he kind of corrected saying he wasn't in an indictment, but it wasn't about Dave Rubin. So Ruben's about to go hard on that point next. He's so excited that he just said that. He's so excited that he just said that.
Let me bring in Jake.
Was
Jake,
I indicted, champ?
Can we?
In an indictment,
The
I
Russian talking points. The Russian talking points being parroted on this
This
show
is
are
why
less
everyone
concerning
hates
to me
leftists. It's just endless.
than the
it's
Russian
endless
talking
dribble.
points. The Russian talking points being used by
Very
Steve
fine people on both
Witkoff,
sides.
who is
Not in this
actually.
debate, but you know.
Time out for a
Jesus.
sec.
The Piers guys, you have to do something about the delay here. Jesus Christ is so obnoxious.
Second. Stop with the lecture for somebody who has defended the January 6th insurrection against the United States government. I do not want to hear you
True.
talk about false narratives
True.
or talk about drivel.
True.
When the two conservative panelists on this show
True.
launched attacks against a free and fair election, one of
True.
whom has a criminal conviction
Yeah,
for
well,
it,
what have I
and trying to
said
make
about
themselves
January
through
6th?
performance art look like
We
they're
got
some kind
another
of
one doing
martyrs.
the same thing.
What have you said about January 6th? I was literally on a show with you, and you wouldn't say anything about it. I remember this. It was a good moment for me.
You
Here's
two
this is what they-
attacked
Hey,
the
Congressman,
tenets
what have I
of
said
this
about January
democracy.
6th?
You have no platform.
Yeah.
You have been an apologist for the MAGA right-wing false narrative around January 6th. I was in the building that day. They were trying to hang the president, the vice president of the United States. They were trying to attack members of Congress, all in order to steal the voters' voice and vote of the 2020 election. So you two do not have credibility talking about Charlottesville, talking about left-wing media narratives. Please spare me. What I'm focused on right now is Russia
You gotta fake
and the
the
fact
emotion
that this
more, man. It's
administration
television.
is
You're not very good at this.
appeasing
What you're
This-
focused on
this
right now, you just talked about a
administration
4.5-year-old
is-
riot for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
parroting Russian talking points as they are negotiating for Ukraine's sovereignty and independence, and it puts Americans at risk.
All right, Dave, last word, given he whacked you there.
Yeah. Look, Piers, as I always come on your show, I tell the truth. I tell people what I think. They can agree or disagree. And well, I'd love to find out if Tim knows if there's very fine people on both sides. Again, not of this debate.
I would
but,
encourage you both to continue that
white supremacist
fascinating debate after we finish. Got to leave it there, chaps. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Piers.
Piers Morgan Uncensored is proudly independent. The only
So fucking epic. Wait, let me get some food. Hold on.
boss around here is me. If you enjoy our show, we ask for only one simple thing. Hit subscribe on YouTube and follow Piers Morgan Uncensored on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And in return, We will continue our mission to inform, irritate, and entertain. And we'll do it all for free. Independent, uncensored media has never been more critical, and we couldn't do it without you.
Sorry, hold on. I was having a secret phone call. The ICE agent said this guy was here for his tattoo. He's had a tattoo with his brother's name on a rainbow or some bullshit for disability. Or ribbon, sorry. One of the 3 tattoos is an autism awareness ribbon with his brother's name on it. You're here because of your tattoos, the ICE agent replied. According to Hernandez, we're finding and questioning everyone who has tattoos. This is why you, shouldn't have tattoos, guys. See?
I'm the only one smiling, Piers. Do an investigation. Figure out what's classified and what's not. Joe
Oh my
Biden
God.